Let's talk about India's oil purchases. They have been under the scanner since the war in Ukraine began. First with Europe's virtue signaling and more recently with Trump sanctioning Russian oil. We told you about it on the show. Last week, the US sanctioned 2 major Russian suppliers. This is the first time they've sanctioned Russian oil suppliers. And this move has raised a question. Will India stop buying oil from Russia? The answer for now is no. India is not walking away from Russian oil, but it is recalibrating its strategy. And 2 clear moves show this. 1, India is buying more oil from the United States, and 2, India is buying from old reliable sources in West Asia. Let's tell you about the US first. Look at the imports from last month. India bought more than 500,000 barrels a day from American suppliers. That's the biggest jump since 2022. And experts say this trend could continue in November too. What explains the spike? One possible reason could be the trade tensions between India and the US. As you know, Trump has imposed 50% tariffs on Indian exports. So India could be buying more oil to help balance the trade. Of course, oil alone will not fix the trade dispute. A lot more will have to be sorted before we have a deal. The more plausible reason for Indian purchases could be this. American crude is cheaper. Right now, it costs less than other types of crude in the market. Globally, there are 2 main types of oil: Brent crude and WTI. Brent crude is the global standard and pricing benchmark. WTI is short for West Texas Intermediate. It is mostly sold in North America. Now, at the moment, WTI, this American oil, is cheaper than Brent. So, for Indian buyers, it makes financial sense to buy American oil. They can buy more from the US while the price is right. That's called arbitrage. It is taking advantage of a price gap. And that's exactly what India is doing. It is picking up more barrels from where the price is lower. At the same time, India is also stepping up purchases from West Asia. That's part 2 of the strategy. From some of its old oil partners. Take Iraq, for example. India is buying more from Iraq's Basra oil fields. The crude from there is called Basra Medium. It now makes up nearly 20% of India's purchases. Same story with Saudi Arabia and the UAE. India is turning to them too. Together, these 2 countries now supply 22% of India's oil needs. So West Asia accounts for almost half of India's oil basket. That's just Iraq, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Almost 50% of India's oil imports. And India has long-standing ties with these nations. They offer price stability. More importantly, they offer reliability. It makes sense to lean on them. At the same time, India has not stopped buying Russian oil. Last month, Russia supplied 38% of India's crude requirements, which is a big chunk, 38%. We'll have to see what impact the latest sanctions have. Trump is basically targeting 2 Russian companies, Rosneft and Lukoil. These are 2 of Russia's biggest oil exporters. They've been sanctioned. But there's a loophole. The sanctions, the American sanctions, target only 2 Russian companies, not Russian oil per se. And that's what buyers are hoping to exploit. Consider this statement from Indian Oil's Director of Finance. This is what he said. Russian crude is not sanctioned. It is the entities and the shipping lines which have got sanctions. Today, if somebody comes to me with a non-sanctioned entity and the cap is being complied with and the shipping is okay, then I will continue to buy it. And this is the approach that Indian refiners could take. Many of them have paused new deals with Russia, but they're not pulling out. They're waiting to see how this unfolds. They're waiting for more clarity on US sanctions. So long story short, India is diversifying its energy mix. It is reducing risk. It is broadening its supplier base by buying more from the US and from West Asia and taking a case-by-case approach on Russia. This is India's new energy strategy in motion, 1 shipment at a time.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all 3 just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.